So, how do you handle toxic people in your life? You know, these people that always gossip and probably behind your back, these people that drain your energy like a vampire, or these people that hate everything and everyone and always know it better. You know that there's a huge misconception about toxic people and how to deal with them? And while most of the advice you find on the internet is good, I do not agree with one advice you find out there. Do not cut them out of your life. I mean, to really understand it, we should look into what toxic people really are, what toxicity really is. Because there are no toxic people. A toxic person doesn't exist. It's always the relationship I'm in with that person. If I have a best friend and I'm vegan and he's carnivore, and we would always fight what the best diet is, I would not go to a restaurant with him because we would always fight. This is the toxic relationship we have with each other. He can still be my best friend and I would go on amazing trips with him. I would have the best time in my life, but I would not talk about diet or nutrition with him, because this relationship with him, that's the toxic part. This person is not toxic. This part would drain my energy, would make feel that he is toxic. It would go a bit too far for this video to dive into why you find people toxic in the first place, but if you want to know, tell me in the comments, just yell "tell me" in the comments and I will probably make a video in the future about this. Tell me! First, I want to show you what happens to you if you are with toxic people. So let's say that this is the amount of energy you have, and on this line you will find the vibrations you're in. And let's say at this point you have the bad vibes, and at that point you're gonna have the good vibes. And I found this chart on Bruce Lipton's series Inner Evolution on Gaia, and he said that energy is life. And this chart represents that the bad vibes, a lower vibration, is low energy. High vibration is high energy. So you want to climb up the ladder, you want to be here. You want to have higher vibrations. But when a toxic person comes in, it drains your energy. You feel less life, you feel more of death, you feel less of good vibes and more of bad vibes. So he said, energy is the source of life. When you have a lot of energy, you have life. When you have no energy, you have no life. I noticed that many times firsthand, actually very recently after my last breakup. I was dating a lot and I was meeting a lot of girls. I sometimes attracted girls that were themselves in a bad place, and they eventually drained my energy. I kinda liked them, but the next day I felt dead and that I needed to recover. So I got aware of the clues they gave me. I could make decisions upon that, and that I do not attract or encounter these girls anymore. So you maybe have that coworker or that family member that is just and maybe the person complains all the time or gossips around a lot. Ooh, here's a fun fact about gossiping. I loved it. Not the gossiping, but the fun fact. So gossiping probably evolved during the times where societies grew larger and larger, because we could not know anymore if that smith in the west of the village is a good guy, or the smith in the east of the village is probably also not a good guy or so. So we needed to rely on the stories other people told us. So gossiping became a tool for us in society to find out who is a trustworthy member of that society, of the village we are in. And since humans like to tell and listen to stories for thousands of years already, we combine the gossiping with the story part, with the storytelling part, and we create drama. And this is what people are addicted to. We like to listen to drama because it was a huge part of our society, of the development of our society. This is why we are so addicted to it. So all these people that complain a lot and gossip around are not inherently evil. Let me show you something. This is a vibrational chart made by David Hawkins. Actually, this one is made by me, hence the beauty of the drawing. But David Hawkins spoke about it in his amazing book, Power vs. Force. If you haven't yet, go read it. If you feel in general shame, grief, envy, fear, or depression, then you have a low vibration. So gossiping creates rage or pride. So it gets you in a higher vibrational state, and it feels so good to be in a higher vibrational state. But wait, there's more. If you are already in a vibrational state of neutrality, love, or joy, then hate or pride is a lower vibrational state, so it depletes you of energy. It will suck out your energy, and therefore your life. You want to stay away from that for your own survival. While lower vibrational people want a nice and juicy snag of your high vibrational energy by convincing you how bad the world or how bad people are. How bad the world is and how bad people are. It's like in the story of the fisherman and the boy when they go out on the water and fish some crabs, and the fisherman just throws crab after crab into this bucket, and the boy wonders why he doesn't put a lid on the bucket so the crabs would not escape. And the fisherman answers, don't worry, when a crab tries to get to the top and climb out of that bucket, the other crabs will grab him and pull him right back down. This is so powerful. This is what happens. People pull you right back down. They don't mean it bad, but they like to snag on this life force you have, on that energy you have. But should you cut these toxic people out, as you often hear? And this is the point where I truly don't agree with most of the advice you hear everywhere. Cutting them out should never be the first step. It should actually be the last step, and this last step also has a twist in it, so stick around while we get through the actual steps to get to it, to deal with the army of the toxic. So let's start with the first step. Compassion. It's the first thing we should always do. Find out what they are going through right now in their lives. Maybe the toxic state is just temporary. We are humans. We are not always sunny and perfect. Maybe we have a rough patch right now, and this little bit of nagging and complaining and putting all the pride into what we are just makes us feel better in that moment. I always like to think to myself, they don't know better. If they knew better, they would act better. So what is step 2? Step 2 is connection. Approach them while they are toxic, but don't yell at them, you always do this and you never do this. Generalizations are always bad. So maybe they're complaining about something or someone. Interrupt that pattern by looking them into their eyes, pause for a second and ask them nicely, hey listen, I am very worried about you. Can we maybe talk about this? Tell them in the talk in a loving manner that behavior makes you feel bad, and if you both could work on that to change that. Ask them what they're going through right now. Maybe they just need an open ear, maybe they need a friend. Remember, hurt people hurt people. So, and this is now the infamous step 3. Cut them out. This is the part where it gets a bit tricky, because what if that's a person you cannot cut out of your life, like a coworker, a family member, or some friends? But let's look into people first that you can cut out of your life. So if you can, end the relationship with them. You don't need to be blunt and say, you are toxic, you need to leave. That's not very socially intelligent, and it will probably backfire in your life. I know a person who did this many times in his life, and it was never good. The best way is, of course, when the contact already declines or when you're not that close to each other, so there's no need in contacting each other and the contact just fades away. And if the other person contacts you, you can't just be busy and answer very, very late or not at all, and there's no harm done. In this case, you don't need to be radically honest with them that you hate their guts, so that's a plus. But if you have to end the relationship with them, do it honestly, for your own sake, but do it in a socially intelligent way, please. Be nice, but put out what is not working. Hey, I want to be honest with you. I don't think we should meet anymore. This thing you always do, you don't seem that you want to change that. And that's okay, that's probably a huge part of you as a person. And I truly respect that. But it triggers me a lot and it makes me uncomfortable. I really tried, but I can't have this behavior and stress level in my life. I wish you all the best. But what if you cannot leave them? Maybe you can love them. So there's this guy in my coaching program, and he has his coworkers that are really nagging and complaining about everything in life, and they have such a bad vibration all the time. It bothers him, it brings him low also. So we talked about this, and he cannot change the other people around him, and he doesn't want to leave the place he's in because he likes his workplace. The only option for him is maybe he can love them. So he's now going to work, and if his coworkers are complaining again and having these bad vibrations, he sees them in the kindergarten. And it helps because that's just a 3-year-old throwing a tantrum. He cannot be angry with a child because this child probably didn't have his nap or is hungry or needs to go to the toilet. It helps because it puts him in a loving state, in a state of connection, not separation. Separation is the cause for all the fights and arguments you have on your workplace maybe, or with that family member. But if you can put yourself in a state of connection, you probably can love that work or behavior this person shows. I personally left Germany because it sucks my life out. And I'm sad to say this, but my parents drain my energy too. So I try to not be close to them. I limit spending my time with them because I never could connect intellectually with them. So in this relationship, my parents are toxic for me. They have thoughts about life I cannot comply with, and mentally calming myself all the time while I'm being around with them is draining my energy. So if that family members of yours is an energy vampire, and if you cannot love that quirky behavior, limit the access to you. This is so important for your energy, therefore your life. It's okay to not spend time with your family. And here's an important lesson I learned. You don't owe your family anything. So you can't change the position in your company, you can't leave the country, you can't change your relationships all the time, but please make sure that you are not the problem in it. If you are the reason of your own unhappiness, you will always end up at the same place as before. So make sure you are not the problem in your life, that you are internally not the problem. Click this video and find out if you are. I see you there. Peace.